There are reports emerging that Chelsea are looking to steal Arsenal target Mykhaylo Mudryk. I probably just butchered the pronunciation of that. Before we get into the news stories, let's take a look at Mykhaylo Mudryk and what kind of player he is. Mudryk is a 21-year-old left winger who can play in the central as well as the right wing. He plays in the Ukrainian league currently for Shakhtar Donetsk and has been capped 8 times for his country, Ukraine. Let's take a look at some of his stats. In the Ukrainian Premier League, Mudryk has managed 12 appearances this season and has got 7 goals and 6 assists to his name, which is a very impressive haul, especially from a left winger. That's not even putting him right in front of the goal. He's even featured in the Champions League this season and with 6 appearances has managed 3 goals and 2 assists. There are plenty of strong reports saying that Arsenal have offered around 60 million for him, but Shakhtar Donetsk are holding out for about 85 million. That's where Chelsea come in. There are plenty of reports at the moment saying that the Shakhtar director is set to hold talks in London this week with Chelsea as they possibly look to trump Arsenal to the player. Now, there are a few rumours going across social media saying that this is true, some saying that Chelsea don't really have much of an interest. In my personal opinion, I think this could be Shakhtar Donetsk maybe leaking to the media, maybe putting some bits of information out there to try and get Arsenal to increase their bid, thinking that there is pressure coming from, especially a club in the Premier League, a rival to Arsenal, and get them to increase their bid from 60 closer towards that 85 that Shakhtar want. I'm sure we'll find out more this week if this supposed meeting happens and if Chelsea decide to make a move for the Ukrainian winger. Personally, I don't think Chelsea should be going out and spending around 85 million on a left winger when we've got players who can currently play there in Pulisic and Raheem Sterling, and especially when these guys are underperforming as well. Getting a 21-year-old that hasn't played in the Premier League previously could be a big risk, and it's a lot of money to outlay, especially when you consider how much we're currently looking to spend on Enzo Fernandez if that deal goes through. You could argue though that left wing is a weak position at Chelsea, with Sterling being the only natural left winger. Pulisic of course can play there but has been naturally played on the right throughout more of his career, so you'd maybe argue he's a right winger. That leaves us with only one true left winger currently at the club, and it could even be just one without counting Pulisic, because Pulisic has been receiving plenty of interest from Newcastle for a potential January move, so if that one was to happen, Chelsea would be forced into getting some sort of replacement in to play on that left hand side. Something to also consider is that Mudryk has never scored in his 8 international appearances. That could be down to a number of factors, tactical setup, maybe Shakhtar really do play to his strengths. I don't watch much of them, so I cannot comment on that. But it maybe is a little bit of a worry that he does really well in this system at Shakhtar, but then on the international level with his 8 appearances, hasn't managed to get as many goal involvements. Could be down to lesser minutes, tactical setup like I mentioned, but it may be something to consider when he's going to move to Chelsea in the Premier League if this was to happen. Would those goals, would those assists translate to this league? Personally, I think Chelsea should avoid this one. We don't want to get in a bidding war with a club like Arsenal. They've got some spending money, maybe not as much as us and the current new ownership, but they will have money to push this deal to the 85 million that Shakhtar want. I think I'd like to see Chelsea go for a player that plays in a stronger league, so you have a better chance of those goals and assists translating to the Premier League, because it's a much harder league, the hardest one in the world according to plenty of players. So getting someone from the Ukrainian league, whilst all due respect, I think it may be a case where he can score plenty of goals there, get plenty of assists there, but in the Premier League, week in, week out, I think those numbers will drop. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear what you've got to say, so please leave it down in the comment section down below. Do you think we should get this guy? If so, how much should we be paying? Should we go to that 85 million? Should we just match Arsenal's 60 or so? I think this will be a tough deal to get over the line, even if we really were interested in him. But as I said, this could just be media speculation from Shakhtar's end to try and get the price a little bit higher.